another episode of procrastinating figuring out themes to decorate, or alternative title. I don't know the alternative. I can't just like was like, oh yeah, I'll think of something in like 2 seconds. I didn't think. Not knowing what to decorate it as. In this episode, we're gonna do a couple things. One, I do think I kind of want this route, right? Not really for the whole added feature of bailing routes, as in, let me explain the concept again, right? The concept is, the general concept of whatchamacallit, of several gimmicks is you have two people, right? You got P1 right here, you got P2 like right here, right? And they're going, and P1, the fastest route is going right? So if you go P1, go right, P2 decides to go left, right? And then going left means that over here, P2, this is we'll just do two lightning rods, right? P2 is right here, and P1 is coming in at hot pursuit, right? And then, P1 bumps them and then goes over here, right? And then dies, right? And then, P2 gets the block. But if they miss and P1 goes by, then they lose a little bit of time. That's the whole concept of side world route, right? This would be adding extra, like the added function would be, instead of guaranteeing like you need to go through this together, like if P1 can essentially see, okay, yeah, P2 went left, says P1. P1's thinking, okay, so we can either take the risk, go in, right? If I do get bumped, I lose a bunch of time. I got a shit ton of time, a whole halabalonka of time, right? But sorry, it just reminded me of something. If I dodge it, then I gain time on them. I go further ahead of them, and you can even maybe like cut ahead of them, and then like have their ghosts have my ghost go through them and bump them, right? So like those are like that's what can happen, right? I can either do that, or I can take this escape route, and the escape route will let me not have to get bumped here, but I come out behind them, right? So that was the idea, right? The idea was you dodge them and get behind P2. So P1, once again, P1 goes right, P2 goes left. P1 realizes P2 went left, goes this route, and then comes out right here behind P2. So P2 becomes P1. They get the overtake. So it's like P2 in this situation, right? It's not like a whole, okay, they just went the extra route, alternate route, and P2 stays P2 because they just knew that they were gonna get bumped, right? Or like because P1 is like fucking bumped, right? It's not like that. It's actually P2 gets the overtake, but P1 does not have to lose 10 seconds or like 5 seconds to this. He only has to lose like 1, right? So you either like, essentially this route would turn this into a game of let's get, like, it's, I might die. It goes from that to I have an extra option of I live, but like I give the position up. So that's the added thing, and that sounds good and all, but I think main function is for race starts, right? The main idea behind this was for race starts. Everyone always goes the slow route, or like that's the meta, right? If you go fast route, then you're gonna get blocked, unless like you have a big lead within the first like section of the track, which is it's possible, right? If you get like 2 seconds away or 3 seconds away, because like P2 like has a stroke or something, then sure, like you might get ahead enough so that you don't have to be in fear of getting blocked at the intersection, right? But if you're not that far away, you have to deal with like 2 people blocking you, right, immediately, and then like if you get blocked, you lose a bunch of time. So like a bunch of time, which means that a bunch more people are gonna get through because it's a race start. So there's a lot more people in that one phase. If you bump at the race start, you get these more positions. Like you bump midway through a race, so you don't have so many people around you generally. So generally everyone goes the slow route. What having this route would do is that you avoid people at the start of the race by taking this route, and then come out with them right here, right? So it essentially acts as an alternate route that will make you not get bumped and be able to not, because The main problem is this. This is the main problem. Like, sure, look, this is wide enough, right? You know, you can argue that this is an okay turn for a race start. This is a little bit iffy, but like the real issue is this: you have only so much, right? And you know, I have 3 POVs at this point of off-season or not Cyber World 2 races, 2 BRWC ones and 1 off-season one. And admittedly, looking through them, at like VAP 1, there isn't like death in the tightrope section. You know, there's a lot of bumping and stuff, but it's not like death, right? But I still look at this, I'm like, I don't like this, right? Okay, well, I mean, okay, so now I think about it, like, if I have 3 cases, or three sources of, not evidence, but like, you know, I have 3 videos, and if on all 3 of them, it was okay of a start, like, the tightrope was okay, then I think that's good enough, and I think it becomes the issue of, what to do with this, right? Because like I was talking about like the whole bail route, right? Like P1 sees P2 go left, P1 goes through this and loses the position but doesn't get bumped thing, right? We have to tune that up, make it like even, because I want the exit speed to be the same from this route getting into this lane as your entry speed would be, or your speed would be by going slow route and starting from here, right? So I guess, yeah, let's see here. I can just check real quick. Let's see here. So like 50 by like right here, right? So 50 blocks a second by right here. I want you to have 50 blocks a second coming out right here, right? So that you can enter back in and like have the same speed, to smooth transition back in, right? Where was I going with this? It's just, if it's not even useful as a runoff route, then we have to think about the other major implication which is like it's not like something that we need to care about for that one stuff, right? As not that route for that one. Don't have to think about that. Then the only other thing to think about is the runoff, the escape route, like the panic route, right? And then, like, I mean, it'd be neat to guess, but like at some point you have to think if it's like just getting too complicated, right? It's already a complicated system, right? People like, I mean, at this point, I think people understand it, right? But like, back when I first introduced it, no one understood what the fuck was going on. So I mean, I think newer level players probably still take a second to learn, but like, I think general consensus is people understand the Cyber World Gimmick, which is good. But then we're gonna add something onto it, which we already know is it's not like a you know 5-head 200 IQ idea or anything. It's just, it's not so simple as like you turn left and it's wide, right? There's 2 routes and one of them can bump right here, right? Or you can go, if you're P2, P1 goes this way, P2 goes this way, P2 blocks on P1 right here, right? It's not like, it's still a little bit complicated, I think, compared to most other things in iSport racing, right? I mean, like, you do have like other track gimmicks that are pretty complicated, or that might be more complicated, but like, I think, I don't know, like, how cool would this be? Because I mean, like, I'm looking, right, and like, I remember in like driving Cyber World 2, in races, I'd approach this and be like, okay, I know someone went that way, I know someone took like the slow route, I just feel fucked, because like, it's like you have so little time to react to this, like, you know, so and like, you know, it's only so wide, so like, I didn't like that, like, pressure, or like, is it pressure, like, I don't know, like, I think having this extra option would have been nice, right? But, I mean, I don't know. Damn, I've had so long to think about this, and yeah, I mean, I, like, on the side of, like, I have to do more work, I'm fine with doing more work for this, right? I'm not doing anything else right now. Like, I don't have a theme to work with for decoration right now, right? So, like, I'm okay with working on this. It's just, and, like, vabbing it out fully and stuff, right? It's just, do I even want this to be a feature on the track? Like, also, I think you have about as much track before the intersections, so that like you can, the grids get spread out before they reach this, right? It's not like you start and you're immediately in the thing, right? Like side world 2, you start and you're immediately in the split route, right? Same side world 1, but like this you have multiple turns. I think honestly, like I was watching the POVs and it felt like everything got pretty spread out pretty quickly. One of them was season 6 Spear WC race 1A. That's like the earliest side world 2 race video on my channel. I started like P3 and I went right and then I got bumped, but like it didn't feel like there were like 10 people on this thing at once, right? On like the on the tightrope. Then all season 2 I got bumped and immediately got put into P18, so like vast space. It didn't even look like populated. Like there were some people for sure, but like it wasn't like crazy. It wasn't like super dense, right? Like race start turn 1 dense, right? Which is what I'm really scared about for the tightrope on that one. And then there was the Rethinking season 7 one, which I don't remember how that went. Let's see here. Cyber World 2, season 7. Yeah, let's see here. I entered the split route in P8. Yeah, it doesn't look that congested, right? It doesn't look that congested, to be fair. And especially because now we have the functionality of, if you do bump out, you can't join back on the main road. You have to go out here, right? Because like someone would get like bumped and then like they join back on the main road, which would just increase congestion, right? So now you have someone going super slow on the tightrope, which means that people are gonna bump them even if they aren't going the super fast route. They can take the slow route and just outspeed and then bump because they have nowhere to go and they'll have time to react. But now they get bumped out and they go over here, which is way out of the way. So it's going to lead to less congestion overall in the gimmick, which is, I think, is good, right? Like we don't want congestion to cause bumps. We want P2 to use it himself alone, and P1 going in and then getting bumped by P2 alone. Right? It's not like a group kind of thing. Or like, you can go with P2, 3, 4, all go left, and multiple people block, right? That's fine. But like, it's not like a. I want it to be honed in on only those involved in the interaction, right? Like if it's only between P1 and 2, I want it to only be involved in P1 and P2, not like some back marker who's like getting back on the track or something, right? Yeah. So I think this is fine. Yeah, like honestly, now that I look at it, like they have this much room. That's 1 turn, 2 turns. There's gonna be chaos right here. Then we got this, and then they go into this. I think that's enough time to split the grid enough, so that we can go through the tightrope. Because we also have these 2 turns, like these 3 turns or whatever, right? I think the grids get split out enough that we can go through the tightrope and not have an issue. We don't need this. And at that point, yeah, that only leaves the like of the 2 main reasons why we have this, right? Like NAP 1 utility and panic route. That removes NAP 1 utility, so we only think about panic route, right? And then we only have to think about if we want panic route or not as a feature of the gimmick, right? Because it's evolving the gimmick, right? It gives you a third option in the whole idea, right? Like inherently, I don't think it's a terrible idea. Like there's probably bad things about it, like giving people the option, like make something weaker, or like fucks things up, fucks up balance and stuff. But like, there might be a reason like that. But I think like the idea is so fine. Like it's just adding on another layer of the gimmick, and I think the layer is probably fine. So do I want it though? Because like, okay, so the pros are adds another layer. The con is that adds another layer, because again, it's making it more complicated, right? But if we add it, and that adds, I mean, hell, people might like more complicated. I don't know, like shit, I don't know. See, I mean, I look at like this, right? Yeah, like P1 goes right, P2 goes left. It feels like a little bit barbaric, which is like, okay, well, I guess it's just go and just do. I know, like it feels like it'd be more like suit and tie, kind of 5 head, 200. No, like more like a proper kind of like mind game setup if we had this third route. But I mean, I don't know. Shit. Okay, so yeah. Again, if P1 goes and they see P2s go left, then P1 ends up behind. They lose, they don't have to get bumped, but they end up behind. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, part of me feels like that makes right route like a lot more powerful. Which, I mean, it does. It gives you another route like option, right? And it's inherently, if you give something another option, in like anything, even not like outside above the race, like if you give something another option, that generally makes it like more powerful, right? But like, shit, I lost the train of thought. Yeah, so like I was saying, like it feels like it's making right route more powerful, which I don't know if we want to make it more powerful, but at the same time, it's not even super powerful because you still end, if you use it, you still end up behind the person who's trying to bump you, right? Ideally, I'd probably want them behind the ghost, right? So I don't want them like in tandem. I want them behind the ghost because if they're in tandem, then it feels like it's really powerful, right? Because then like, yeah, it feels really powerful. But I think if it's behind the ghost, and it's like, okay, you don't have to worry about getting bumped on the gimmick. So yeah, P1 ends up behind P2's ghost. I mean, like, okay, there is the hypothetical scenario where 100% win success rate pawn skip is leading the race, and then he has P2 right behind him somehow or something, right? And then P2 goes left, he goes right. He can just keep taking the off route and then like overtake the guy through pawn skip if normally P2 guy goes for normal route. And then like he becomes like immune to gimmick kind of thing, like because he ignores the possibility of bumping here, and he also gets right past the person again immediately afterwards, right? That is possible. And then that does, like, let's be real, if you hit this 100% during the race, you're probably gonna win the race. Like, I think I would put up a good fight with, like, current me would put up a good fight with Soda Soaker if I constantly hit these and he didn't. He never won for them. He had like a average success rate or whatever, right? And I had 100%, right? And he's going his like best pace, and I'm going my best pace. I think I'd have a good shot, because normally I lose less than 2.5 seconds per lap to like top double drivers per lap on like a normal race. It's normally like about 1 or something, but like, yeah, I think I would just win, right? And that's me. I'm bad compared to like Soda currently, like one of like the best racers, right? Even McCruisen, I think I lose like 1.5 seconds per lap at best, and then I gain it back. I gain it back and more on pawn skip, and plus it also gives me another option for overtaking other people, right? So it's not just like a time trial versus me versus McCruisen. I mean, if it was a time trial, I'd just kick his ass, right? If I hit this 100%. But then if there are back markers, then like we have the gimmick, both of us have the gimmick, sure. But like I also have this, and this is like the freest overtake if you can get it, right? And if you do get it, like, yeah, it's super free overtake. You don't even have to deal with them. It's not like, yeah, you overtake them off track, right? So like, I would kick his ass, right? So like, if you get this 100% of the time, you kind of just win that way with this route, or regardless of like, or without the route. And at that point, just go left every route. You don't even have to go right and take this route. You can just go left and stay in front of the guy. Yeah, never mind. Although if we do use this or make this, if we do make it, then we have this action here. And I mean, for content wise, it might be better to have this without this route, because then like this, Crafty's can't. Okay, like also, he's not going to explain the gimmick, right? He explained the gimmick in Cyberworld 1 video, like it was okay and all, but like I think he's not going to want to do that for Cyberworld 2, because like it's just, he didn't explain it in Mementos, right? Okay, no, he actually kind of did briefly, but like if I had this extra route, it would be so much more annoying, right? Because then someone would use it during the race and you have to explain it or whatever. It's just, yeah. So I mean, there's that to consider, right? But also like he can include it in the video, right? Like, okay, so like we got me versus Osaka, right? And I'm behind Osaka, and I block, and then Osaka goes the outside route. Like, Crafty can put laser overtakes Osaka on the gambling section because Osaka took like the panic route. In the panic route, so Osaka's now behind, and as they go into the pawn skip, whatever, or like nothing can happen on the start, but he can just like segue into that, right? But like compare that to laser going for the block route, and he gets Osaka, and Osaka is on the run-off route. Laser gets the overtake for the gimmick, and then Togi comes in and overtakes Osaka as well, right? Like, which is better content, right? The better content is if I bump him. So if we give him this like panic route, then there's gonna be less bumps here, which means worse content, right? So that is something to consider. Yeah. So cons of this is it makes for worse content. It would make it more complicated. Pros, it makes it more complicated, right? There's another layer to it, which might be cool. And removes the negative feeling you have when you go right route when there's someone on the other side. Which, to be fair, if you don't want that feeling, just go left route, right? Yeah. Right. Oh, shit, I didn't think about that. If there's P1, P2, right? P1 goes left every lap. P2, the counterplay for P2 is not to go left with P1, right? So P1's leading, right? Because they're P1, right? And they go left. P2, in response to that, the right play would be to go to the right and then dodge them, because like they're gonna like P2 is gonna be like right here, or P1's gonna be like right here by the time P2 reaches them, right? Or like P2 should be able to get past P1 on this straightaway. But I think I only tuned it so you only lose 0.3 seconds if you go that route. And I don't know if that's enough, right? Probably isn't enough to step in between Rod and Ghost if you're P2 playing against P1 who went left. Which isn't good, because yeah, that removes the counter, because so now that route's just powerful. Shit, I didn't think about that. Do I have the data? I think I do. Let's see. Yeah, it's only 0.25. Or actually, it's 0.4 on average, actually. Now that I look at it. Yeah, it's 0.4 on average. But then again, I only did like 7 runs for right route. I'm gonna probably have to like come back and like really lab this out more. I did do a lot of labbing. I did do 7 of each route and then make adjustments and then do 7 again and then adjustments, right? So that's probably why I only have 7 for right route compared to 10 for that route. But I think I should probably come back and lab this more. Yeah, I'm not thinking about this. I'm thinking about just the left versus right route. If it's half a second, I think that's enough to step in between, right? Like if you're following behind, if you're P2, right, and you're falling behind, P1 goes left, and like if this is their ghost and you are right here, I think that's enough time to step in between. If you can dodge them on the straightaway, you can probably step in between the rod and ghost. Like you're gonna be like definitely more towards their ghost than their rod, but like at least like you're in there, right? I think. Yeah, if that route's just damn. Because yeah, I'm cruising in like past several 2 races, but just like take left route if there's anyone near him, he would just be fine. Which I mean that does not include the interaction between P1 and P2 that I just outlined, right? Like if you're P2, you go right and overtake, right? Because like I think in that race he had like no one near him fighting for position. Like P2 was like way behind him, right? So he doesn't have to like worry about stuff like that happening, right? But like I'm pretty sure at least I can still see spamming left route as P1 being pretty powerful. Which, to be fair, you're P1, so like, yeah, you should have the advantage. Just like you're P1, you're like you've proven yourself to be fastest in the race at that point. Probably you should be, but like, cause yeah, I mean like if you give too much advantage to P2, right? Like if P2 is more powerful than P1 on a certain turn, then P1 is gonna want to be P2, right? So like if you have a situation, right? Let's say that like 50% of the time P2 comes out in front of P1 on this right here, right? Like, and then 50% of the time P1 comes out in front of P2, right? Then it doesn't matter if P1 would be. I mean, like it doesn't matter if you're P1 or 2. Like you guys should flip the coin right here, right? But if you have like 80% P2 comes out in front and 20% P1 comes out in front right here, then like you're gonna P1's gonna want to like slow down and let P2 become P1, so P1 can, or old P1 can get, like it's never really a fight for P2, right? So if you're in front, you shouldn't have this advantage, right? Like I don't want to like nerf P1. I just want to give P2 a fighting chance to do something, right? Because ice bowling is difficult, like to get overtakes in. So I shouldn't go too hard. So like giving P1 an advantage by allowing spam left route, right, is like they are P1, right, and like they shouldn't be given this advantage. Like, yeah, And like the whole concept behind left route is that you go slower. But like if you're only fighting between you and P2, like if they can't overtake you, then like what's the point, right? Like the whole concept of left route again is like you slow down, right? It's like let's say P1 and 2 are like 10 seconds ahead of P3, right? If P1 spams left route, P2 does whatever, then they're eventually, and P3 keeps going right route because he's near no one, right? And then P3 is going to eventually catch up, right? He's going to get those half seconds every lap, right? He's going to catch up, but like, so what? P3 catches up to P2, and all 3 of them start going left. And then nothing happens. P1 stays in front because P2 cannot overtake in this section, because you're not overtaking someone in this section unless like they're bad or there's a back marker, right? Like top level drivers should like never really get overtakes in this section, unless like you're in tandem, like rod on rod, in which case I guess maybe, but like how are you gonna get there, right? Yeah, it's difficult. Like the play is to make left route that much slower, right? You're like if you made like 0.7 slower than that right route, then like yeah, P2 can just go right route and then dodge and then get past, right? And then you can fight rod on rod, and he might just come out and stop, depending on how P1 reacts, right? That's cool and all. But then the thing is, if you have the opposite, right, the normal kind of idea, P1 goes fast route, P2 goes slow route, then if P2 misses the block, then he loses that much more time to P1, right? I had to rechange my, I had to, like, I think paradigm shift is the term. Because my idea was, you're going to go faster route because it's faster, but then the person behind you can go slow route and outplay you that way. But if everyone knows this, then the person in front's going to go left. So I should, instead of saying default is right and they go left to block, it should be the default is they go left and then the person behind goes right. That should be the default, right? Because it's like going left is P1 is busted. I should, like, if you're yeah, I mean, essentially going left is the person in front is kind of busted, right? With like the numbers of half second, I don't know if half second is actually enough to get past them because you have to swerve around them, right? And that's like you have to, one, be like right behind their ghost if you're going into it, right? And then two, swerve past them, right? So you can't even just hold straight. You have to like go around them and use some of your W power, right? Also, I just realized having a very slow entry is actually really good because then you can have people more close together in terms of total distance. Well, I mean, actually, hold on, wait. Actually, I don't think it matters. I mean, I didn't think about that whole entry speed into the sections though. So like, yeah, like making this section, I didn't think about how going in super fast, which is like going in medium speed versus going in low speed, mattered. It might matter though. I'm not gonna think about it right now though. I'm not gonna dissect it. But yeah, I really had to paradigm shift. Like I have to like think the opposite because hell, if I'm in front of someone, I think I'm just gonna go left. I don't think I'm ever gonna go right. I'm just gonna go left, right? Because I don't want them to block me. Blocking me means I lose like 5 seconds, right? So I'm always going to go left. I think a lot of people share that sentiment of like, if I'm being followed, I don't want to get blocked. Please don't block me, right? Like I can probably look through old Cyber World 2 races and like look at how people react. Cause yeah. So like, I think that's a pretty understandable sentiment, like idea, like feeling to have. Like I'm not gonna go right. I'm not going to go right at the time in front. I think most people would like at least understand that going left while being in front is better. So I should tune around that instead of tuning around right route being the default for if you're leading. Right. Okay. Seems have to relab. That's fine. I mean, yeah, I could read that. That's totally fine. I can do that like, later today or something. But yeah. Okay, so I will have to read ab. Sorry. Yeah, I've been talking a long time. So like, it's good. That these videos are good because you can see like what I'm thinking of when I'm making this stuff. It's not just like a hunga bunga, 2 routes. 200 IQ. I have 200 IQ. 200 IQ. 200 IQ caveman mode, where I just have like, so fast block done. It's like I really have to think about what I want. Like I had to think a lot more, right? Even with grids, it's not just place down grid go. I did take a good amount of time to like think about the grids, or like bond skip. How did I just develop that, right? How did I, etc. Right? So that's why I think these chat videos are good. It's just like you get to like understand why I'm doing things and how I'm doing them. Yeah. Yeah, okay. I'll write it down for myself. I don't know where. I mean, I think I'll just remember. Yeah, okay, wait. No, I'll write down a sign right here. Redstone. I'm thinking like 0.7 or something. We'll have to like do some research. Relab, several gimmick. So that default leader route, P1 route is left, not right. So prob like 0.7 second punish. Probably like that being slower. C 7/8 vid number 2. Yeah. Should be good. Yeah, okay, I can do that some other time. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I think that's a good evolution, right? It's not, I didn't write the 0.7 as missing the block, but rather as left route punish. Because like, in this case, P1 is not trying to block P2. P1 is just doing left route because they don't want P2 to like get past them somehow, right? Because like, yeah, if both people go left route, then P1 is probably going to stay in front, right? Yeah. Back to, oh yeah, extra thing. Tracty's in the other video was like saying you should toy around with not just doing full blue ice, and I'm like, I guess, sure. I think that blue ice is kind of like the best for racing. But then I was like, so like, what if like we change up the tuning or like change the ice just to fuck with them, like not just to fuck with them, but like, because that a turn feels different to take, right? Because like if every turn is blue ice and like you get into the group of blue ice. But if you have every turn is blue ice except for one, which is like packed ice, then that turn is going to feel very different, right? For instance, there's a turn on Canada, I think. Yeah, Canada. I tuned it like a year ago or so, like that 2022 FC1. And it's essentially like you have a blue ice straight, you're going super fast, right? And then like before the turn, there's packed ice to slow you down, but the turn itself is blue ice. So like it's essentially like, what if I just did it doesn't look exactly like this, but it's like, what if I just did, right? So like you're going super fast, and then like, you slow down, and then you're going whatever speed, and you're getting used to normal ice, and then like you hit here, and then you're going back blue ice, and it feels it's so weird. And it's a cool thing to get used. I think it's a cool turn. And what's really cool about it is that's actually a lead up to the chicane. So like you really have to take it correctly, but it's hard to take correctly because it feels so weird. So I think that's really, I did a good job with that. But some of the concept of like, they're going to be used to blue ice. We know this. Every single turn is like all blue ice except for like this, right? That's like packed ice, right? And there's this packed ice apexes, but like whatever. It's primarily blue ice, right? You have like packed ice thing there, but whatever, right? It's primarily blue ice, like almost entirely blue ice. So what if you just have like this one awkward section that's not all blue ice? Like what if you just, yeah, like what if we do that thing I did in Canada? So now I was like, well, I mean, yeah, so we can't do like this. Like we can't do this section. We can't do this section with changing it because we already labbed it, or, I guess we could, if we relab it, then we're probably going to add more packed ice and stuff. So I guess we could add tuning and stuff there, but I think it's okay, right? And like, not doing this because we already labbed it. I think we're already basically done with this section, right? Cool. That leaves this section, which I already labbed and I'm happy with. I think adding packed ice, checkerboard, whatever here would be kind of sad because then you go slower on a super slow turn, or like a super wide turn. And there was this section. And I was like, I don't want to like change this turn, but I was like, there's this turn, and I guess I can change that, right? So I'm thinking checkerboard instead of blue ice, right? Like packed ice, I think it's just sadness, but I think blue ice instead of packed ice is fine. Or checkerboard instead of blue ice completely is fine. I'm just gonna remove a center line here. Okay, and then I think right. Okay, and then we do checkerboard. Yeah. So, because yeah, like we know that this turn right here and like this run up does not affect the labbing here, right? Because we know like it shouldn't, right? it shouldn't. So I'm thinking, do I want to do Canada style, where like there's like a, you know, like this is checkerboard and then like the turn itself is blue ice, or do I want to just make like this checkerboard so you have a blue ice run up, but then like the turn in is like you break more than normal and it's kind of awkward. I think, honestly, I think maybe, might do a Canada style where I just like do that or something, right? I guess we can try it. Let's do place blue ice, ice, right? And I start from here, just like this. Deselect. Like you don't have them at highest speeds, so it's not actually gonna affect anything. But like this turn's already kind of like nothing's gonna happen on this turn anyway, so I may as well just like add stuff, right? Yeah, I mode. Imagine, dude, imagine hitting that. That's crazy. Does feel a little bit weird. Bruh, I did it again. Holy shit. Like, it's not gonna be enough to trip them up, I think. But, like, I mean, we go from a boring ass turn to maybe something a little bit interesting, right? Like, if it feels weird, then that goes from like a turn where like you don't think about to a turn that's like notable. Or like people are like, oh yeah, that's like the weird feeling turn, right? And like it gives it there's more going on in the track, right? Or like there's more to the track. Might actually do all of it. Ooh, I think I saw it there. The difference in speed. I think the most abrupt thing would actually just be make the turn itself packed ice. Like here, I'm gonna try it. Nah, it's not even that abrupt. Like it's. I mean, I didn't feel that much difference. Okay, no, I think I think I'd have to turn it a lot more if I was on blue ice. I'd have to be like this, right, to survive the corner. But now I don't have to turn it as much. Yeah, that's fine, honestly. Yeah, turn it a lot more. Could just tune the shit out of this corner, but like sure, you could tune it so like, you know, apex is slower, so like, you know, if you go like slightly off the line, you know, like you could follow someone taking a slightly offline thing. You know, I could do that, but at the end of the day, I don't think anything's gonna happen on this corner. Right? Like, I'd just be taking time to something that, like, there's nothing, like, you can add a bunch of tuning here, but I don't think it's gonna change the fact that like, this corner is, like, too low speed for anything to really happen. Right? Like, if I'm able to consistently hit, like, this close to the apex, Is that okay? To be fair, that doesn't actually look close. But like, that's close enough so like people can't overtake me, right? I could just do that, right? That was pretty close to the apex. Nothing's gonna happen on this corner. Yeah, like that's not enough space to like get in, right? And it's just, yeah, you can't. Nothing's gonna happen on this corner. So like, yeah, I could just make it feel weird, right? That could be fine. Or I guess I could make it so that it's a very difficult thing to hit the line, so it's like inconsistent. So that, like you, if you're not super consistent, then like you're gonna lose time in this corner by not taking consistently and perfectly every single time. I think honestly just like doing checkerboard on entry or something should be okay. Yeah, we can just do that. Guess we could do this. Feels a little bit weird. I also want to do. I could try this. That feels nice actually. God damn it. That actually feels pretty nice. To be fair, that feels pretty nice. Oh yeah, I like that. It just like it doesn't look like it should work, but it works. Like, oh, the speed. Like wait, what's my speedometer? Wait, does that actually change at all? does it change at all? 30. Yeah, like dude. Oh man, that feels great. I kind of want to see it then because it feels so cool. Yeah, like kind of just want to. Because yeah, like again, nothing's gonna happen in this corner. Yeah, it feels really cool. Feels like really smooth and natural. Yeah, I mean I could do that. Sure. You know what? Yeah, that's fine. We can do some tuning so that you like go wider or whatever. Then you know you can go a little bit wider and get a little more voice to kind of like tuning, just tuning stuff. I actually might want to redo it. Let's cut more inside. Oh, that looks like trash. That's a little bit better. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Yeah, that looks okay. Yeah, that's fine. I think it's okay, yeah. Sure. Yeah, you can go with that. yeah, like again, nothing's gonna happen in this corner. Like there's not gonna be any like overtakes or anything. Like even if you're fighting rod on rod, like I don't think anything's gonna really happen in this corner. Like you might like, you know, get a little bit closer, a little bit further than the rod, but not by much, and it's not gonna be like a prime overtaking spot. Like you're not gonna like get past the rod CNA if you're behind the rod, right? So I think, I don't know, it's a neat corner, and I think people might appreciate it and be like, oh yeah, this corner feels really nice, you know? I think that it might just be a nice, good reason to like, you know, leave it in like that. Probably gonna change this back to checkerboard. Set clipboard. Deselect. There's a window. Yeah, we don't have to do magic, we can actually just do this. That works. Sure. Alright, so yeah, there's that. But yeah, okay. Going back to this. Like, I don't know, like, I think... honestly, I think if we can get this whole left route is default thing, like the signs there, like thing I was talking about earlier, if we can get that going, that adds more depth to it, and I think that's gonna like sure, like, you know, doing the whole tune around default being left thing, that doesn't like substitute this route. Like this route is like it's unique kind of thing, or like we're adding a third layer. You know, like doing this would not add a third layer, but I think it's like enough complexity for like an upgrade, right? To the system. Right, like the Cyberworld gimmick idea, right? Because like, you know, this is an improvement, right? This also would be like an improvement, but like I mean, hell, I'm happy with at least one improvement, right? Like, you know, making this like default, or like changing your mindset about that being default. Yeah, I think that should be fine. Like when I look at it, when I think about how blocking routes and right routes have like, because right now, right, essentially there's 4 different outcomes, right? There's the 2 outcomes, like it's a 2x2 grid, right? Either P1 goes right or left, and then either P2 goes right or left, right? If P1 goes right, P2 goes right, then that's like neutral, right? If P1 goes left, P2 goes left, then that's neutral, right? But then you have the option of P1 goes right, P2 goes left, and then you have the option of P1 goes left, P2 goes right, right? And for those 2 options, right now, it feels like P1 go left, P2 go right isn't powerful enough, right? But like if we give it the ability so that it is a viable option, right? And also P1 go right, or P1 go left, P2 go right, or sorry, P1 go right, P2 go left, right? And that's also a viable option. And I feel like it would make the whole area a lot more whole, right? And like there's a lot more play, right? Because yeah, like I even thought that route kind of broken like a whole like, you know, a year ago or whatever in WC season 6. The reason just showing that it's like that route is double broken, right? So I think we could fix that and make it all the 4 options possible. The like it feels a lot more whole, right? You know, 2 of them, you know, like P2 follows P right behind P1, whichever route they take, right? Like they both go left to both go right. Like that's just kind of like a dead map, right? Like dead gimmick or dead map. Try again next map to see if you predict them going the other route, right? But I think I think this is okay. I don't think that this is a necessary thing, right? Like I guess it could be neat, but I don't think it's necessary. I think it just, it'd be a little bit too complicated. Alright, I think I'm just going to remove it then. Sounds good. Maybe next time. Alright, sounds good. Let's do it. Okay, I guess that's that. And yeah, I guess all that's left is retuning or relabbing Gimmick, making sure that refocus default being left, P1 going left. Damn, they really knocked at that? That's crazy. Oh yeah, that's why. See. Okay. Yeah, sounds good. I'm gonna pause recording here because I think that this is a lot to take in, and I'm gonna, whatever I do next is probably gonna be like totally different topic. So I'm probably just gonna stop recording right now. Right? Because yeah. All right, yeah. Let's stop recording.